Okay, this is a follow-up to the video that I did yesterday. And I'm doing this video within 5 minutes of waking up from dreamland. And I'm in my truck. Right now I'm off of not too far from Northeast Broadway. I'm going to start telling people where I'm at, because I don't stay in the same spots. So just to give you a visual of the parts of town that I've been in. Yesterday I was somewhere near 29th and Hawthorne, a few blocks off. Now I'm a block off of Broadway and Northeast 24th. And I'm not always comfortable speaking in the back of my canopy because Portland is a very, very populated. I'm going to be talking about this in a future episode. And in these episodes, I'm going to try not to talk about my situation too much. I will allude to it here and there, a paragraph here and there. I won't go in depth. But because Portland has become a very populated city, it actually is a subject that is worthy of reporting on, even to people that aren't in Portland, because I'm seeing the picture become clear, even more clear than ever before, and seeing my concerns from the past validated, revalidated, and revalidated and restamped once again. The growth that is taking place in this region, in this city that I was born in the year 1980, and a place that some family is from, or was from. My grandparents are no longer alive, but they have a lot of history in the Oregon region. Also Portland as well. My grandmother at one point was a nurse at Good Samaritan Hospital in Northwest Portland. And my grandfather had a farm in Aurora, Oregon, a half-hour south of town. And there's a reason my grandfather stayed out of town. And there's a reason my grandfather was concerned about his family when they were in town. Portland. My grandfather understood old Portland. And we didn't get into long talks about it, but he saw things happen to his friends during the World War II era. Getting involved in drugs, cocaine, things like that on Broadway Avenue. I remember one story he was telling me, and that it disturbed him. Even then, Portland had that wicked Sin City spirit. And it's a spirit really of greed that today is masked by New Age medallions. Santa Fe, New Mexico is also turned into a haven for people that think that they're enlightened, ascended, and yet their real life is about worshiping their physical beauty or the beauty of others, and having these homes, material things. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with physical beauty or homes or things like that. One thing you'll never see me say, one thing you can't find me say in any of my tapes from the past, because there's an aspect to me that is very consistent, no matter how unstable you may think I am. I have never said eat the rich. I've always spoken out against these paradigms. Class warfare. All this bullshit. Now there's eat the rich and there's kill the homeless. Or fuck the homeless. Coming from those that have something. And that's the sickness that I'm seeing in Portland. Portland used to have a reputation of being friendly to the homeless. That is something that may have been a partial truth at one point. As you know now, this used to be one of the most dangerous places to go out drinking, especially if you were a transient. You'd wake up on a ship, shanghaied, maybe with your name forged on the ship's articles, so you were an indentured servant. But move forward through the 20th century, there's many people that have had nothing that have called Portland home, and there's many young people. The old way of describing Portland was the place where the young people would go to retire. Sure, if you consider retirement living in doorways and living off people or living in your truck, but living in my truck isn't living off anybody. Let's just get that thing straight. And anybody on food stamps, the food stamp program, it is very unsustainable what's going on, the amount of people on it, but it by itself is not the thing that's going to bring down this country. what is breaking down this country, bringing down this country. I've also talked with Bill about potentially doing a news program in addition to my Saturday program. So we might, it all depends on me and my focus. Do you know any other homeless people doing news programs and other subjects? Do you understand the psychological stress that one is under? Yes or no? Do you understand? When you don't have a love coming from family or a woman or things of that nature, how the body hurts, especially when you're a healthy man, when the people that say they appreciate you when they're exclusively online. Do you know what that does? Yes or no? Are you aware of the strength that is required to persevere and continue to walk over the fire? I know some of you do. I myself am having to come to terms with all that is required in order to do such. It is not easy, and this is why. This is why. This is why you do not see many people doing what I am doing. There are costs that come with being this far outside the box. What I want to talk about in this video is what it's like to be me, which is a person that is known by his community, by what he has done through his activism. And I have been on the air off and on since 2004. The main run was 2004 to 2011. About 315 episodes were aired in Portland, Oregon, and then some. And that's not counting internet activity, posting articles on the web, or online radio, like American Freedom Radio, WTPRN, Oracle Broadcasting, or the Republic Broadcasting Network, or any shows that I have been a guest on in the past, like the Vinnie Eastwood Show, the Jack Blood Show, or any other associations with any other big names in the past, like Alex Jones, David Icke, Clyde Lewis, Anthony Hilder, Michael Desarian, so on and so forth, people that I've had the honor of talking with at least once, sometimes more. But in the real world that I live in, beyond the activism and the videos that went up and my internet connections on the local level, Portland, Oregon, USA, the Rose City, Stumptown, the Pacific Northwest. There are people, as I mentioned in the other video, and I've talked about this with other people, and I have gotten confirmation. There are some people here of a certain bloodline that are uncomfortable seeing people from a different bloodline, and that is their biological imperative. That is their lower conscious selves coming out. But then there are some people that recognize me as being someone that was the contrarian when 75,000 people were worshiping Obama in 2008 at Waterfront Park. That broke my heart because I worked really hard, along with others, to try to educate and inform as to how things are not the way that they are. You just can't vote for somebody different than the current person in office and think that that's going to get rid of the corruption, whether it be on the federal level, the state level, the county level, or the local level, the local elections. And right now there's a man that is putting forth a petition. He needs to get 35 signatures, and that is to put it on the ballot to have, or just straight for a recall, Charles Hales removed from office. That is the goal of this man in Southeast Portland that the papers are writing about. There's nobody else doing this. He hardly has anybody yet signed on to it. But this is in the first week of this coming out, and I'm curious to see what the public response is going to be. The charges mainly are that there's mismanagement of funds, really. That really we don't know where the money's going, because they've already have millions and millions of dollars, but they have these budgets they've created, and they're saying, no, we need more to repair the roads. We don't have enough. You don't have enough? Really? And they have a big printout. Oh, no, we don't have enough. See, we have 1.2 million going here. We have 2 million going here. We have 5 million going here. But there's just not enough. We've got to get the street tax going so we can get another so-and-so $1 million per year. I think the estimation is like 50. They're like, yeah, man, we can get $50 million a year if we charge each of y'all with homes at least $150 a year on average, with businesses paying even more. This is going to be the topic of my my next episode. I'm going to talk about this about the dangers of allowing such corruption in our society, and it's just as relevant to a Portland viewer as it is to any of you that are watching outside of Portland. And then might get into some of the historical corruption that has taken place in Portland, as mentioned in the book Portland Confidential by Phil Stanford. And then I'll get into some other ideas, saying the words that need to be said to reach the consciousness of that viewer, asking them what they're willing to do to live a free life. What programs are they willing to smash through? You know, some fool emailed me, Facebooked me the other day, asking me at what point is it time for violence? Time to stop talking about these things. I have some really ignorant people that have been around me for years that act like they haven't learned a single thing from me. I think some of them have mental illnesses. Okay, so as I speak as a therapist to those that are sick, you can't change things from that point of view. When society turns it back on valuable members of its society and lets them die and freeze out in the streets, that's not conscious. I'm not going to use this platform to whine about my position, but in the position that I'm in, I'm seeing more of what society is really like, and I'm speaking for others, gosh darn it, and the experiences that they're living. You can't just blame governmental structures when you're a selfish society. And how do you know some people are selfish? They go, Alex, I can't help, I don't have that. You could say something. You can use your local vocal cord. Vocal cords. I've been smoking. That's what it is. I've been smoking. So, why do I smoke? My heart hurts so much in this situation. I can feel all the emotions of isolation, every memory as a child, every family encounter, every outing, everything that ever happened, every nightmare, every time I was scolded, screamed at. Might as well have been locked in a room for a few days. The isolation that I went through for years and years, it's like it comes up. Everything comes up. I'm trying to cycle through it, heal from it, clear. And it comes up and it comes up. And memories of those people and everything that happened comes up again and again and again. And so I'm in a period of my life where everything's coming up. All of my memories flashing before my eyes on a daily basis. I don't talk about this. It's happening. I don't know what it means. But I will tell you this. I do not fear the afterlife. I do not say these things in code that I'm going to kill myself. I say these things to say I do not fear the afterlife, so I do not live a life moment to moment in fear of what's going to happen to me based on the actions. There are things that have come into my lap and come into my world to help me at the time that they have come in. So there seems to be a very strong reason why I'm homeless right now. Why some people aren't called to help me. They may be called to help in other ways, but for some reason there's no shelter. And I know I haven't burned any homes down. I know I haven't kicked any doors in. I know I haven't been engaged in any home invasions. And I know there are people that have done these things, people that have also committed rape, that are in office. There are people that have done these things out in the streets and more that aren't in jail, that haven't had their karma handed to them. But I believe karma is real, and I believe it is unwise. I think you can do whatever you want to other people, and there won't be any consequences for said actions. And that includes being a control freak if you're a parent and you bring a child into this world and you abuse that child with your voice and you scream at that child. You're a horrible person. If you are involved in trauma-based mind control, if you allow yourself to go down that road and start screaming at your children because you're mentally unstable, you're passing on trauma-based mind control. And that mind control is about serving you, and that's the archonic system. That's the reptilian within you that does not have restraint. Do you understand? Do you understand the inner lizard? There are so many men and women and men that are really fucked up in the head right now, that think they're really conscious people. And Portland, Oregon right now is an amazing microcosm to learn about this. There is no better that I can think. It is a place that I knew at one time to be something different than what it is now. And you have so many nasty, angry, resentful people. And they are all over, they are from all over this country, in particular San Francisco. I talk to locals that don't even see it. Every time I'm outside, they're like, oh, this is nice, but it's not like this. Back in San Francisco, I feel different. I see people acting very different outside. There are more people tweaking and the cops are more active. There's a lot of things that are different in the air when they're chemtrailing and we're being blasted with HAARP. HAARP, not a thing that I've wanted to speak about in the past at great length, nor do I want to now, but it's necessary that it comes up in passing because it is happening here in Portland, Oregon. Now, it may be happening in other places. We know it's happening in other places. But this is where I am right now geographically. And you need to talk about what's happening with you geographically. Do you understand? So we can have things happen on a global level, but you need to write out the local report or share the local report as to what's happening in your area so we can see the macrocosm and the macrocosm. And I know this is becoming clearer to some of you now, why we talk about Portland issues and why it involves you. As I myself return to this land, was expecting something different, and I see where society's values are. And the values are not in keeping someone like me alive or helping someone like me find work by giving me a tip to where they know someone's hiring. And sometimes they don't know who's hiring because really the economy is worse than even they are willing to admit. And if they are willing to admit that we are at the brink of something huge, and I don't necessarily mean a total collapse. We're in a state of economic change. It's an economic crunch where they're forcing us into new occupations. It's a very sick form of social engineering. You either work here or you don't eat, or you get on welfare, or you go to the streets. There are only so many options for you. Go in the military or go fucking crazy. Kill other people and kill yourself. There's a bunch of video games you can simulate doing that, and there's a bunch of fucking alcohol that is approved by the government that you can start to drink. Have some cigarettes, have some of this. Oh, don't worry. We're going to legalize weed. Oh, it's fine. Here, have some Monsanto weed. Don't ask where it came from. Don't ask if there's something different about these strains. This ain't your uncle's organic weed, ladies and gentlemen. That is exploding right now in this country. Do you see a genuine expansion of consciousness right now with the legalization of marijuana in Colorado and Washington State? Or do you see more complacency? Do you see more people relaxed in their fucking prison cage? You answer that question to me. You tell me, do you see people more comfortable in their prison cage? Or do you see this expansion of consciousness, the third eye, the pineal gland, just blowing up? Do you know? And I smoke weed, but do you know that by smoking too much weed that you can lose your yin, of your yin-yang energy? That even in Chinese acupuncture medicine, you take that hit, your chi expands, your consciousness expands, and then it implodes back in your body and creates an imbalance in your lower chakras, or mid chakras. There's information about this on the web, and I felt that. So that's why I go dry for a couple of days. That's why I go off cigarettes for a couple of days. That's why I, for the most part, stay completely away from alcohol. Unless I am just so bombarded with chemtrails, pain, feeling the auras of others and their programming because I'm super sensitive. And I just feel the need at that moment to drink something that will help me fall asleep. But yet, that is very rare when that happens. It's once every few months to once every few weeks. But it will happen to you more in cities like Portland, Oregon, and less in places like Colorado. But I did meet quite a few drunks out there off the grid. You can't escape it. But the core of what I want to talk about in this video wasn't even really touched. But I might as well do that now, 20 minutes in. This is a longer video. I need to do another video where I focus just on this issue and not deviate. And the issue is this. I mentioned it earlier. So I was on the air from 2004 to 2011. Some people recognize this face. I also look at my own face at moments like now, and I find myself handsome. But I also believe that I live in a world where, and I'm sorry if people are offended by this, certain people within certain groups seem to be intimidated. And I don't lift weights a lot. I don't sit on camera flexing my muscles, okay? But there are people out there in the society that think I'm a cop, that think I'm an investigator. And even though I might be an investigator and I might walk down the street, you know, I'm not super vain when it comes to my body, you know, but there are some people that look at me and they see that I have something that they don't and they're fucking jealous of it. Or they're scared of it. There are women that without a doubt find me sexually attractive. It's not racism, but they see someone that's fit that they don't know, and I'm also not flirting with them. I'm also not staring at them with my eyes. It unnerves them. Why isn't he flirting with me? Is he going to say something to me? Oh wow, he's handsome, I'm ugly, now I'm going to look down. I understand what that's like. I've done that myself. At a fear of rejection, I will feel ashamed of something. I don't know how to interact anymore with today's women. I don't think it's safe to. In fact, look, I'm a public figure. If someone appreciates me, the universe will draw something good to me. That's it, and that's how it's always been. This trash walking around the street right now, these women today that have been taught to worship themselves, to have no compassion whatsoever for anything but themselves. It is pure hell on earth. And to hell with anybody else that doesn't see that. It's fucked up. It's bad for the future of women. It's bad for the future of men. When we hate each other, when we're so divided, that's exactly what's happening out there. So you can be a handsome man. You can have someone that's healthy looking. And they will look at you like they fucking hate you like they're demons or something. I don't care how pretty that ass looks. I don't care how perky that breast looks. What I feel is demonic energy from a lot of the people walking around out there. I don't care if you think this is crazy. I'm going to say what I believe is true, and I'm going to fucking share it. And I'm going to use foul language when necessary, and I'm going to do this so I don't put it on my TV show. Someone wants to find my YouTube channel and see these videos and think I'm crazy because I'm expressing the truth. Fuck them. Fuck you. Get out of here. Hit the back button. You are not wanted here. Get out. The door is right there. You think I'm here to get down and suck your dick, suck your breast? Fuck you. Fuck you. I ain't touching your vagina. I ain't fucking scratching your ego. This YouTube channel hasn't even hit the wall yet of how far I can push the truth, my truth. I'm always holding back. I don't know how many of you guys know that. Do you know that I hold back every day from what I really think? Every day. Every second of every day, I'm holding back. And it's creating this energy blockage in my chakras. I just can't have it anymore. I just can't have it anymore. In order for me to handle this very stressful experience of being in a land and place where I feel like the people are either intimidated by me, either by the way that I look or something that they've seen on TV or what's in my auric field. So that's what I go through. I go through several things, basically nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, constantly being looked at in a city that's becoming increasingly populated. So I go to the park to go away from the cities. I struggle with smoking. That's my own thing because it's very difficult emotionally. It's like a pinch yourself moment. It's like I can't believe I'm actually here. I can't believe I've actually been left on the street. I can't believe that I'm back in my own hometown and there's no family in town and I'm disconnected from most of the world's population. But yet I'm still alive, I'm not dead, and randomly, you know, sandals will fall out of the sky, so to speak, that will be my exact size, so I know that there's a crater there. I know that I've prayed, but I know certain things are there for a reason, and it might not be punishment, it might not be bad karma. I know that through this experience, now I feel more motivated than ever to speak for others, and I know I've spoken for others before, in particular victims of war. I've talked about some local issues, but it seems like the homeless issue in Portland, what's happening with the mass migration into town, how deep the corruption actually goes at City Hall, and so much more. These are all relevant issues that I need to be addressing, and I'm going to be addressing in a future episode. I'm going to be talking about G4S. It's private security, a British security company in Israel. Their men have also raped Palestinian women at the border. Guess what? That's the private security here in Portland, Oregon. And when things get really crazy economically, they will be there to protect the city of Portland's interests, regardless of what the Portland police are doing, or whether or not there are any Portland police left. When it all comes down, whatever the end plan is. Certainly, whatever police are left or the city can't afford will be delegated out throughout the city, but public safety will not be a top priority. It's not for them, in my opinion. But G4S, once you go official and you go private, well, that's their function as a private mercenary force. It's not to protect and serve. It's to serve the interests of those that are paying their bills. So we know we're going that direction, and they've got those guys on their side, and the company, G4S, has a nasty reputation. So we need to put the dots together and understand, how could this affect Portland, and how does this reflect on the morals of the people of Portland, in particular the people running it, in control of it? But in terms of this recall election, it's going to reflect on how unconscious the people of Portland are. And there's a lot of people that have come here that are not, they have no knowledge of anything going on politically, locally. They have no opinion about anything. All they know is it's not as expensive as LA here. It's not as expensive as San Francisco here. It's not as dangerous as Philadelphia or San Francisco here. This is all I hear. I hear this. I'm not thinking that people think this. This is what people are talking about in sound bites in the streets, and my super aware consciousness is picking up on this data. And in the data mine within my mind, they're not from here. They came from somewhere else, and it's the great white flight from the other areas in the country which are fucking falling apart. Have you been to Kansas City, Missouri? Why don't you go to Kansas City, Missouri? Won't you go to Los Angeles? Won't you go to San Francisco? Won't you go to some of these places, and you'll understand why they're coming here. And the media says this is the #1 place to move to. Do the people of Portland have any idea that our own city is marketing this as a city to move to so they can make money for them and their cronies? While the homeless problem gets worse and worse and worse, holy shit, man, this city is heading towards something soon. I'm willing to stick around and cover it for a period of time in this situation, maybe longer if things improve and I end up working or being a part of a project or am involved with someone special. But at some point, I'm going to have to leave this place if things don't change and never look back. And if that's the case and I'm here for a temporary basis or reason, then the issue, the focus then, is on what Portland's become. So people can look at me, they can see me in the streets, they can scowl at me. Go ahead and do that. It's me that needs to not respond. But a lot of you don't ever take this into account because you've never typed about it. You've never commented about it. These people know me and they're not offering to help me. And you know the person I am through the videos. The same similar videos that I put out there. Not the YouTubes, but the outside the box shows that ran from 2004 to 2011. The YouTubes were something entirely, but the shows covered a lot of content and information, facts. We had a lot of guests on. And so the community that recognizes me has an opportunity to help me, but the help isn't there. But the scowling is, and the staring is, for reasons I don't even understand. And I have to live with it, and I have to deal with it while living in my truck and have a belief that I'm doing the right thing, regardless of the fact that people around me telling me I'm doing a good thing. Other than a few comments here and there. It's very, very alarming, but it's something that's bringing out some inner discipline. This thing's not waterproof. A lot of water was just coming down here earlier. I got this whole thing of water here. I've got a truck I would love to clean out. I'd love to have more things, but I try to keep this place somewhat manageable. I haven't showered for a few days, even though I have shaved. I couldn't believe how much. I spent $5 on razors yesterday for simply 10 Bic razors, double twin razors. Was it Walgreens? That was the Walgreens price. Everything is becoming so expensive. It's scary. Things are changing rapidly in the next couple of years. I need to talk about these issues. I am so shocked at how callous and non-empathetic some of you are, because you have no idea what it's like to be a public figure and to say things so controversial that people turn their back on you. You can maybe visualize homelessness and poverty, but not what it's like to do shows. And I'm not going ego on you. I'm going, it's a unique position to be in. When you know you've done good, and they know you've done good, but it still means nothing, and you're still on the streets. It's a very unique place to be. And this is a place where I'm going to choose to stop the video. Thank you for watching.